My name is Stefan. I met a lot of people before in this room. For you who haven't seen me before, my name is Stefan. I've been working for the New Way Group since 2010. And the whole time at the craft organization in Borås. So apparently we are having a lot of fun, right? So we stay for 14 years. Great to be here. You've been hearing a lot about the craft brand in the past. I won't go through a big presentation in the history. I will more dig into the teamwear business, the footwear business, and the sustainable part of the business, if the time will let us be there. So, and then we do all the questions afterwards, right? Everything began with craft in 1977. The Air Force, the Swedish Air Force, asked for a base layer for the pilots. Because when they ended up in trouble and had to shoot themselves out in the atmosphere, they were wearing base layers in cotton. This was the first base layer we did, invented one for the Air Force, for the pilots in 1977, existing of a polyester thread that make the moisture go away from the body, and actually we saved life for pilots. And we've been going on since 1977, and New Way Group acquired craft for 1 crown. 1 Swedish crown in 1996. From there on, we have more than 200 million euros in revenue. We are today present in more than 70 countries around the globe. And we are turning a Swedish outsider into a player on the global arena. Key markets are still the Nordics. We also see Germany, Benelux, Canada, and US as big markets. Biggest growth last year came from Benelux and from Denmark. And we have a target on 2027 to double this business from 200 million euros up to 400 million euros. Same as we said last time we stood here in front of you like a year ago. We're going to do that by having 4 different business areas. The same as Christopher and Jens presented for Persson earlier on, we have not 3, we have 4 business areas. This is nice and good for us. This makes us pretty stable. We're not just depending on the retail business, which still is the biggest one. We have actually 3 more. We have our own e-commerce, retail business, club business, and the corporate business. And today, we're going to focus on the teamwear and club business and the footwear. Craft Club. You've been hearing a lot about this from Torsten. And no doubt why, because this is going really well for us. The club business has a great potential. Very, very great potential. Because looking into some competitors, and some of you maybe haven't even heard about these brands, but they are bigger in sales in teamwear than Craft is as a whole brand. Looking into Yoma, for example, a Spanish player having more than 250 million euros in revenue in 2022. Or looking into Hummel, our Danish brand, having 300 million euros. Or these maybe, for some of you, unfamous brands from Germany called Erima or Jacko, together having more than 200 million euros in revenue, just doing teamwear business. So the potential is huge. We set up a target 3 years ago to reach 100 million euros in 2027. We are actually ahead of that pace right now. So if we continue with that pace we have right now within the teamwear business, we're going to overachieve this target in 2027. So how? How do we do this? And what do we do differently from other brands? And how will we succeed within the teamwear and the club business? Well, it's important for you to understand we are not trying to convince or persuade a consumer. We need to convince a club or a board of a club or someone like you and me, being mom and dad, sitting in the club, taking a decision of which brand should we go with for this club. That's how we need to convince. That's the consumer or customer we have in front of us. It's not an end consumer, it's a club. So it's important for us to be visible. it's important for us to make a step, an entry ticket into a market. Hammarby, IFK Gothenburg, was the entry ticket for this market. If we can fulfill 4,000 kids playing football every single day on Södermalm in Stockholm, that's a receipt that we can help your club with 50 members, or 100 members, or 500 members. That's the ticket you need to pay. We don't do it just because of having nice brand exposure. It's good, though the pure thing is, and the major thing by stepping into a club like this, or the one we're doing later on today, AGF in Aarhus, it's the same thing. It's an entry ticket into a new market. And you as parents, and you as a club members will say, okay, they can help out AGF, they can help out Hammarby, that's fine for us. So that's important. That got us to more than 5,000 clubs. We started in 2018, and already now, less than 6 years from that, we have more than 5,000 buying customers clubs around Europe. We're not even present yet, full out in North America. This is just in EU. But the New Way Group structure helps us to get this club owner or club board or the person in the club to choose us. Because we have much more than just one product. Our competitors are basically having the ones on the very right side from you, sorry, left side from you, match and on-pitch training for the kids. They don't have the rest. If we go head-to-head with Nike, Adidas, Puma, which we are doing today, every single morning we wake up and go head-to-head with them within the club business, they do not have what we have. They don't have this on stock. They don't have the things for beers or coffee or the caretakers or the kitchen or whatever it is. They don't have that. We can fulfill a bigger need for your club. We also have a structure in this group that we believe in local presence, and we do believe in local sales reps. That's why Tom is responsible for Benelux. He speaks Flemish, he speaks French. We do believe if you live in Finland, you need to speak both languages. If we are running Canada, we need to speak it's not Spanish, French and English. Other brands, I won't say which one, are not thinking in this way. They think they can sit in Stockholm and run the whole Nordics. We don't believe in that business. This business is still made out there every single day, out at the field, at the pitch, with the clubs. That's what we believe in this group, and makes us a little bit different. We also believe to focus in the female consumer. This makes so much sense, but believe me, we are the only one having that big width of styles in our warehouse with female and male fitting. A lot of different brands have few items for female fitting. And if you go to a club and you say to them, would you like to go with a brand that have apparel that fits for men and women or just for the men? That decision is going to be super easy in 2024, I'm telling you. And we are basically still, and it's pretty sad that we are the only one doing this. And we do believe in stock. We do believe have things in stock, and that's going to be delivered quickly. And I promise you, if you place an order on the Craft website today, it's going to be dispatched tomorrow. Most likely could be today as well. Our auto store have 50,000 bins, 30 robots, and it runs automatically, right? Even with the packing, it runs automatically. We not just have quick deliveries, we have things on stock that you need for your club. Meaning, if you are a parent and you need a t-shirt for your kid, that's going to be delivered. It's not fun when your son or your daughter are going to be playing football tomorrow and they cannot be part of that team because you're lacking a t-shirt, which is going to be delivered in 1 or 2 months later on. We also have a very broad assortment, meaning from every single color, orange, purple, light blue, the whole way to white, black, and yellow. Annie was talking about reused, and some of you asked about, do we sell second-hand? Well, from now on, we're working with all the big sponsor clubs. They are not allowed to throw things away. And bear with me, some of these big sponsors that we are doing, for example, the Swedish Ski Federation, they use more than 2,000 pieces a year. If just one logo will be changed on that suit, we need to throw it away. We don't do it anymore. We resell the stuff that we are giving away to our teams. IFK Gothenburg started last year. It took them 11 minutes. 11 minutes. It was a line, a very long line, to get into the shop and to be buying the reused garment that the players were playing in the year before. It was packed in these bags. It was hundreds of bags with T-shirts, hoodies, old game jerseys. We sold every single one of it. Some stuff were too bad to sell, so we remade it into flags and sold that as well. That's the way we take sustainability to the next level. This is for sure. We can do a lot of things in sustainable fabrics, which we are doing. But this is the next step. We're also looking into sustainable decoration. And again, looking into a jacket. For example, here, this is the Ski Federation in Sweden. If they change out that sponsor for next year, we again need to be selling it. But now, with Velcro, we can take that logo away and use it one more time. Looking into smaller clubs, we're now printing with a new printing method, which is going to be heated and reheated. So the next step. We're not there yet, but we need to take responsibility in how we do printing and decoration for our clubs. This is also unique for us. No one else is doing this right now. But we also do tailor-made design. This maybe makes sense if you sponsor a big club that you do what they would like to have. But that's not the case. Hammarby changed into craft because they were forced into things they didn't want to have. So this is what we did. Completely custom designed for this club. And Jakob and Rasmus are going to tell you more about this for AGF, what we've been doing for them, also custom made. Every single club on that level is different. And they would like to be unique. And we can help them out. So this is the kit that Hammarby had last year. It's been a great success. It sold out very quickly. And it's due to the fact it's being unique and it's being made in this unique design. This, all in all, makes our teamwear offer very unique. And again, it's not the end consumer we are trying to convince. It's you that's running a club, sitting in the club board, and need to take a decision. And you're going to be the one getting the phone calls from moms and dads that are not happy with the delivery, or the quality, or the fitting, or the sustainability. That's why we in this group makes a perfect fit and a perfect match into the teamwear and club business. Stepping in, to footwear. I'm from Gothenburg, right? Stepping into craft footwear. This is different. This is way different from the club business. And bear with me. And we try to sort of sort things out here now in the coming minutes. The question is, why are you doing this? Because again, when we stepped into teamwear, there were so many doubters. I don't know how many phone calls, how many emails I got from our customers saying, Stefan, please don't do this. You are insane. You can't do it. And I think in this group, the best thing we know is when people telling us it can't be done. Then we're going to improve you. So if you want to have more sales, tell us we can't do it. And if people were thinking I was insane and crazy when we stepped into the teamwear business, which is a pretty big business with some really big competitors, there was nothing about this. Because this is the toughest thing you can do as a brand within sports, the sports industry, I'm telling you. So why are we doing this now? Why are we doing this step into footwear? Well, running is the most popular individual sports activity in the world. Period. The running gear market is one of the highest values industries among sports retail globally. It's one of these industries, one of these gears that looks the same in every single market. Because the sizing is the same, but if you're sizing for a t-shirt, it's not the same in China as in Brazil or in US or in EU. Footwear can be done wherever you are on the world. If you are in Antarctica, it can be done. If you are in Asia, it can be done. But base layers, cross-country skiing and biking can't be done in every single part of the world. This can be done. Looking at Strava, more than 20 million people using Strava. Running is the most uploaded sport that people are doing. This is major sport, meaning that the competition is going to be pretty tough. So if you look into how people are Googling when it comes to the running gear, this was an eye-opener. Pretty simple data. What are you guys Googling at when you are Googling for running? Well, the blue line there is the shoes. And the other ones here is shorts and t-shirts. That's what we've been doing for the last 47 years for running. So the footwear is super important. It's the most important thing for you as a runner. It's not the t-shirt. Unfortunately, because we have a lot of t-shirts in the warehouse. And if you go back 2012, this is just 12 years ago, the market looked just very different. It was 4 big brands basically owning the segment of running footwear in the world. It was these 4 brands. And it was hard. This was basically a little bit pre the e-commerce era. The shelves in the stores were all full. There was no more space to get in there because these 4 brands occupied every single shelf and selling pretty well. So what happened? Well, this is 2024. The brands that runs the global shoes business for running in 2024. It started with e-commerce, I'm telling you. More and more consumers could actually find more stuff. But there are more things to this. More things that could be done, and I'm going to tell you why. So this is basically brands that are today present on the global arena of running footwear. The brand Brooks is bigger than Nike for running footwear in the US. So how is it possible for a niche brand to take market shares from some of the world's largest multi-sports brands? Well, to explain that, it's basically 3 steps. You as a consumer are much more willing today to spend more money to test new shoes than you were in the past. Then you had one pair, maybe a Asics Gel Kayano, that you were very happy about. You bought that one every single time, going down to your local store and buying a new one after a year or 2. But today, look in your wardrobe. If you're a runner, it's a runner in front of me here, I think Stefan has at least 20 pair of shoes, 25 pair of shoes for running. Is he unnormal? He runs unnormal a lot, yes. But no, people have 10 different running shoes today because they run on different surfaces. They run fast or slow or long distance. They need different shoes. And niche brands are superly good today to interact with the consumer. Doing run clubs, giving them a beer or ice cream afterwards, meeting up here in Stockholm at Gärdet and run together with customers or consumers. That didn't happen in the past. But you as a consumer, you change your behavior. And it's easier today to get hold of new shoes on e-commerce. Number 2, retailers of today are not really allowed to buy what they want. Big mega brands are having a different distribution strategy and saying to customers, I'm sorry, you're not allowed to buy anymore. And you don't know as a retailer if that decision is going to be changing for next year or next season or next week. You can be selling a brand massively in a store. After a half a year or a year, that brand can tell you, you know what, you're not allowed to be buying this anymore. You've got to change the brand strategy. So as a retailer, you need to take much more risks today to have much more brands in your store and sell more brands to the consumer, because you're never not going to know what that brand is going to be telling you. This is something changing. This is mega trends that change in the world. And bigger brands, major big sporting brands, are closing down distribution and trying to drive the traffic to their own e-commerce. Meaning, if you are a sports retailer, a running specialist in Italy, for example, and you're not allowed to be buying hookah anymore, will you then just close the door and say, okay, I give up? Or will you be buying something else? Most likely, you will continue fighting and buying something else. And number 3, distributors that are selling our stuff. We sometimes use distributors in markets where we are not present as New Wave Group. They feel the same. So back to Italy example. We have a distributor in Italy that sold more than 600,000 pairs of hookah every single year. After 6 years, hookah said, nope, not allowed anymore. So they stood without the 30 million euro in revenue that they had from hookah, and they called us. We would like to be selling the craft shoes. This is what's happening in market after market. So we are now moving into Argentina, Paraguay, Chile, Greece, China, Italy. Same thing. Distributors are seeing the same thing from brands. So this is basically, guys, the perfect storm for us. This is the macro big trends that are happening out there within the sporting industry. So apparently, it works. A niche brand can apparently be successful with all these big multi-sport brand giants around them. Because in 2009, hookah was founded, and today they have a revenue of $1.4 billion US. In 2010, On Running was founded, 1.2 billion Swiss franc in revenue in 2023. Brooks, as I said, bigger than Nike in US, with 1.2 billion US dollars in revenue. This can go on and on, but it's pretty impressive to see. When I started at New Wave in 2010, On Running was actually founded, and today they have 1.2 billion Swiss franc in revenue. So yes, it can be done. So why craft then? Why and how do we do this? Well, we do believe that we're going to be different. A lot of these brands are American or German. We're going to be Swedish. We're going to be Swedish all in, I'm telling you. We're going to be the Swedish endurance brand. This is different. Different from what we have in the competition. So what is Craft better at than other running brands then? Well, I think we do understand that the performance-driven runner runs on all surfaces, road, trail, and everything in between. Meaning, when you go to the forest for a trail run, you will be running on gravel, on paved roads, on asphalt, and on trail. You're going to be basically experience all this. And we're going to offer the best road to trail shoe in the world. So we are the Swedish endurance brand that offers the world's best road to trail running shoes. And what is that? Well, I was running this morning along the Karlbergs Canal. That was asphalt. Sometimes it was slippery. It was snow, but it was gravel. I'm that perfect runner. And you are as well, because you don't only run on asphalt. You very often run on very different surfaces. So the focus segment for us is road to trail. It could be called gravel. It could be called hybrid. This is a new category within running specialty stores. If you go to Löplabbet now, you're going to see that they have this as a category. This won't be the biggest sales for us. You're going to be at roughly 35% of all the pairs we sell. 50% will still be regular road running. But this is the way, the niche that we're coming into stores with, because no one else is doing this as good as we are doing. So who else is doing road to trail? Volvo is doing it. Subaru is doing it. The entire bike industry is going nuts about gravel and being everything in between road to trail. Nothing unique. And this is the new shoe. And bear with me, it's here. This is going to be launched in a few weeks' time, together with a brand called Vittoria. Vittoria is a very famous brand for bike tires, one of the biggest bike tiring brand in the world. And we're launching this shoe now together with them as the best road to trail shoe within a few weeks' time. Again, 35% of the business will come from these kind of shoes, but this is going to be the entry point into a store. Looking at sales and distribution strategy. So the yellow ones here are parts of the world where we now sign distribution agreement with new distributors. They all have one thing in common: the fact that they've been actually canceled from someone else and they are looking for new partners. It's the perfect storm. We're now going into China, to Australia, southern part of South America. In Mexico, we're already in, started for a long time ago. The old own running distributor is now doing craft footwear. This has been opening up new territories and new markets for craft. Because again, we are strong in base layers, bike and cross-country skiing, but it's hard to do that in Mexico. It's pretty hard to be biking in Mexico because it's dangerous. You can't even barely now today be biking in Beijing or Shanghai with all the traffic. When I was in Beijing 20 years ago, you can be biking around town. That can't be done anymore. But you can be running. It's a great potential. So we divide this in 3 different levels, 3 different categories in how you're going to sell the footwear. The very right one here is actually if you come to the market with really, really unique technology. Something unique, innovative thing, right? Like On Running did, the cloud running, perfectly fine. Rocks the market. The left one is more the proven performance, meaning that you can go into a running specialty store and say, hey, I would like to have a pair of Asics or a pair of Nike Pegasus. They don't really have to be that recommended brand because they are already proven that they are good. We are something in between, right? We need to be in that middle part, the recommended performance. So we need to put the energy in convincing you guys as consumers, but very much so to convince the people working in running stores. We need to be that brand. When you say you go into running a specialty store, hey, I would like to go running, we need to be one of these 3 pairs that you're going to test, or one of these 4 pairs that the guys that works in the store will present to you. Because we know then, all feet are different. So bear with me. It could be different, of course. But we know if you try these on, you're going to be happy. They are good enough. We tested them. They are better than the competition. But we just need to be recommended in somehow. And we need to be convincing you that this is the best. And again, here you see the difference. Now we need to convince you and your 200 euros in your wallet compared to what we did in the club. In the club business, we are convincing someone else because you as a parent have no choice to then say, I don't want to buy craft for my club anymore. You have to because that decision is taken from the club. Here is your money, your wallet, that need to be spending 200 euros, or for the new shoe that we have, it's very bouncy, called the Craft Pacer, 140 euros needs to be spent on this shoe instead of Nike, Addy, Asics, or some other proven brands. That's what we're going to do to be more recommended performance. That's where we're going to end up. This means that we are basically in phase 1, and in some countries we are in phase 2. That we need to be getting into the running specialty stores. So if you're in this town, you can go down to Löplabbet on Kungsgatan. There is craft on the walls. And try them on. Go for a run. In phase 2, you can scale up and go into some multi-brand stores such as Intersport or Stadium in this country. And then phase 3, reach the broader audience. And then phase 4, really drive volume. And we always carry this on craftsportswear.com. It's the most sold item today on our own e-commerce. Because again, it's pretty hard for the consumer to find it in store. That's why we can communicate and always find it here. So what's the goals then? Well, we're going to do in 2027, 1 million pairs of footwear. We are today doing roughly 250,000 pairs. Started in 2017, it's been taking a while, but this is going to take a while before we really get up to that big level. So in 27, 1 million pairs, that means roughly 60 to 70 million euros in revenue for us. And in 2030, we would like to be top 20 largest running footwear brand globally. Then you need to run basically, need to sell about 1.5 million pairs as of today to reach this target. And again, guys, if On Running started in 2010 and doing 1.2 billion Swiss franc, and Hoka is doing 1.4 billion US dollars since 2009, we can do this. Sustainability. Time left, Lars? Thumbs up. Sustainability. Annie was presenting a great presentation about sustainability. This is going to be more about how we take things to the market. How do we like to communicate to the consumer to really convince them that we are doing the right thing? Well, first of all, we do think that having a garment for a very long time is the smallest footprint you can do to the environment. And I have a funny story. A few years ago, I got an envelope with a pair of base layer pants from a man writing a hand note. He was very disappointed. He bought this pair of pants 1987, and they now broke. And we answered him by sending a new one to him with a handwritten note. We still have this pair of pants in a frame at our office. He bought them in 87, and he sent them back in 2020 or something. This is the best proof of having things to live long. This is the smallest footprint we can do for the environment. We do products that are going to be here for years and years and years. And as Anja says, we have things on stock. They are sometimes boring, blue and black, but I'm telling you, they're going to last. So they're going to last for a long run. And we are so convinced that our base layers are so good, so we're now promising a lifetime guarantee. So that man that sent this nice note in the envelope, he got a new pair. And we promise you guys, if you buy a craft base layer, they're going to last for a lifetime. This has been running since 2022 now. Very few things come back to us. And if it does, you get the new one. This is sustainability for real. This is sustainability on its very best. And we can tell to customers, we're not just doing things in sustainable fabrics. We're taking responsibility. Because we use fabrics that are preferred. And I use the word preferred because you never know if they're going to be preferred next week or next year. We need to be changing this every single time. We use wool, recycled fabrics. Sequel, which is actually things that we come from the ocean, bottles that we do into polyester. We also do plant-based products. So last year in 2023, first time we did a plant-based, bio-based running capsule. So this was made from a bean. It's called the castor bean. It's being grown in Europe. Either you do, you do oil, and from that oil you spin a thread that reminds us a bit like the polyester. This is now online on our e-commerce, ready to sell. Bio-based running capsule. And again, I love this. We are taking responsibility of selling the garments that our athletes has been wearing. It's not bras and underwear, but the rest being sold. The rest being sold after the season, collected and sold again. That's what we do. And when we come to this, to clubs around Europe, this is super unique. This is our way of taking responsibility of things that we've been putting print on and we have been giving away to a club. This is, again, sustainability at its best. Decoration, as I told you before, how we use the Velcro and different solutions for having this. And we will have a pretty high, ambitious target to 2030 to reduce the CO2 with 50%. And in 2025, all products will be fully or partly made from preferred fibers. No new items being made at Craft from 2022 and onwards are all being made by preferred fabrics. So nothing is made from old polyester or from bad polyester. This is how we communicate to the consumer about sustainability. So Annie's work is great for us. Great platform. We can lean to Annie, and then we can tell the consumers what we are doing. And with that said, I'm done. Questions?
There, Stefan Olsson, Ålandsbanken. When talking about shoes, you were focused on the running shoes in your presentation. How about other sports? What are you thinking there? I've seen that we are into indoor shoes, for example. What's happening? What plans do you have for that?
Yeah. Great question. We do shoes. I think it's important to see that we do also shoes that we're going to be sold in teamwear, in the club business, and also in promo. So add on to this what we have. So basically, the new one here can also be a version of this being sold into the promo business. We are looking into doing other sports in the future. There's nothing sort of done yet, when and where. We really need to be successful with what we're doing right now. It's a big task that we have in front of us. But yes, we are looking into new sports, and we are looking into other kind of footwear. But again, it's going to be further on.
Yeah. Hi, Stefan. Emanuel, Danske Bank here. Just a question on the running segment here. You're talking about the distributors, which also being cancelled more or less by bigger brands to some extent. You're mentioning this distributor in Italy. I think you mentioned around 600,000 pair of shoes from Hoka. How quickly do you think you can ramp up over time from that kind of distributor? How long does it take to normally to get into that size?
Yeah. Great question. Yeah, basically it can take a while. It's not just the fact that we can sort of replace Hoka tomorrow. If it's that easy, that would be nice, right? It takes a while. Though what's happening is that we're going to be ahead of some of the other brands because the distributor has some really good credibility and knowledge in his market, right? So meaning when the former Hoka distributor is coming with our stuff to his customers, they're going to give a lot of confidence that, hey, this is good enough. Again, can it be the same hard work as they did with Hoka to convincing the customer, to convincing the consumer to actually change from your pair of Nike Pegasus? That won't be easy. They have to do the same thing. They, though, have a recipe of how doing that. That's what we said with the proven performance, that we need to be out there. We need to be convincing these people working in running stores that we're going to be one of these choices that they do when they say, hey, Emmanuel, I think you need to be running in this pair of shoes, right? We need to be one of these three, or one of these four shoes that they present to you. So it won't be that easy, but it's going to be giving us some millions ahead of the other ones, right? So, no, we won't be doing 600,000 pairs in Italy tomorrow, but for sure we would like to be on that spot. The good thing with this is the Hookah distributor, for example, now in Italy, they had more than 1,000 buying customers. Hookah said we're keeping 200. So you had 800 customers that were not allowed to be buying that brand anymore, and those stores are for sure looking for other brands.
Great, thank you.
So a lot is happening on the running shoes side, and you get the super shoes that are ranging around 400 euros now. That makes you run really fast. You don't have those shoes really yet. Do you need that segment to get the Pegasus-like segment sales as well, or can you skip that part of the market, or do you need it all?
We're gonna need it all. So we are coming with this super fast shoe. It's coming pretty soon. So it will be super cool, and it's very, very fast. So we need it as well. The way into the stores is gonna be sort of with the road to trail thing, but for sure the asphalt running, the regular running, gonna be 50% of our business for the future, and then we need a super fast shoe. So it's coming pretty soon. You're gonna like it.
And where is the biggest profit in the market? Is it still the Pegasus because you get bigger volumes there, or are everyone making a lot of money in these premium segments?
It depends on basically the footwear. Footwear is a little bit different than the apparel, right? So you need to invest in the last and molds. This is basically more machine-made, basically factories in China, right? So all this is molds. I would say the most profitable shoe in the world has to be the Pegasus or the El Cayano, right? Because they've been using the same sole or same mold for the last 25, 30 years. We're not there yet. So all the investments you're doing in the new shoe, for example, this superb running shoe which can be super fast, won't be the most profitable one. The most profitable shoe we have is the one we're selling to Teamwear and to Profile. A lot of big volumes, repeat orders to our factories, and we sell it on the same sole and the same mold and the same every single week. That's the most profitable one.
And will that be a shoe that you're really walking in it? You're not running. You just have it for everyday use.
You could do both. You could do a fair bit of running. I tried it. It's okay. But basically, these shoes for the teamwear is more for the players. They're going to go back and forth to the bus. It's for the coaches. It's for, we sell it to the promo, for example. It's for people working in the store. You are working as a kindergarten teacher and you need a pair of shoes, right? But of course, you can go running for them. You won't be doing a marathon, but they're good enough for running, yes.
Okay.
Yeah, so is the 250,000 current, is that produced volume or is it sold volume? Sold volume. So that means you are pacing some 15 million euros in annual revenue currently for the shoes. Yeah. So that means it's like 7 or 8% of total craft revenue.
Yeah.
Okay. Thanks.
So still fairly small. Now I think that Torsten said in the very beginning, I think one of the biggest uplifts we have for the future is going to be the footwear. Again, the potential in the market is massive. We just need to break it, right? We have good shoes. We have a very good brand. We just need to break the market. So 1 million pairs, meaning 60 to 70 million euros in revenue to 2027. With that pace we have, that's going to be reachable.
If I add the targets together for teamwear and shoes, obviously that's pretty a big part of the 400 million target, so to say, in 27. Yes. How do you see the other platforms contributing to the target?
The probably most important thing for our profitability is going to be the corporate business. The corporate business is going to be double the size as it is today. That kind of means a lot to our profitability because the mix of margin here is going to be the important thing, right? We're going to see that retail, irregular retail, will be the rest, Koji. So basically, that's going to be ending up to these 400 million euros. We do see that the regular retail business is going to be basically the slowest moving, and the promo going to be double its size, and that's going to be meaning that we're going to keep up the margins and be even more profitable.
Promising, promising. Germany has been thrown out as the great opportunity for this year. What is happening and how do you see it developing?
I think Germany is super interesting. It's for sure the biggest market in Europe, as Thomas presented in the past here as well, with the opportunity we have in profile. For Craft and the teamwear business, it's a really big opportunity. There is 9 million licensed football players in Germany. 9 million is playing football. I think there are a few hundreds doing cross-country skiing, just a comparison, right? So there's more people doing football, basically, or the same amount-ish doing football in Germany that we have living in this country. So it's a great opportunity, though the competition is tough. We have some really good brands in that market. If Jacko can do 160 million euros and being pretty, no offense, but being pretty unknown, and Erima, a German brand, can do 50 million euros. So there's some decent competition. But we also see here the same thing with the other brands. The major brands are doing different things, and we can have a better fit into these markets. So we are up to, again, head-to-head every single day in Germany and all other countries with Nike, Adidas, and Puma. And in somehow we beat them sometimes they beat us, of course, but they are also making different moves and different strategy, and especially in Germany, we can see that we're going to fit in pretty well.
And one final word maybe on North America and the opportunity in teamwear there. You have postponed it once or twice, looking for the right entry. How do you see it that, and how important is that for the 27 target?
Well, they're going to be important for the future. And then if you're going to be for 27 or not. The teamwear target, I'm pretty convinced with the pace we have right now in Europe, we're going to be overachieving that target just in Europe, right? The North American market is interesting. We see the same movement and the same way of the way we work here works in the same way in the US. We're being unique with the offer that we have. We are testing the market right now. So we are in US right now working with one of the biggest clubs on this planet, having more than 100,000 members. It's called FCA, Fellowship Christian Athletes. They are now trying us out. It works very well. We can see that this model we are working with is different. It's unique. So I think Koji, it's more of a matter of time than when we step into North America, but it has to be planned for sure.
But it's really after 2027, you might see the big upside that can take the next growth driver if you take it like that.
Yeah, I think we can step into teamwear in North America before 27, but we don't have to do that to reach these targets, just so we know.
Thank you.
Okay, then I have a question from the web first. They just wonder how important it is cooperation with different elite teams.
Yeah, as I said in the beginning, working together with different elite teams is important. It varies a bit, sort of which category or sport we're talking about. As I said from the beginning, it's very important for example, the teamwear business to have this entry ticket into a market. This makes a lot of sense to us. But again, if we are now sponsoring if you like cross-country skiing, and I hope you do, because then you can see Craft every single day, right? You see that we're going to be on the podium every single day. Of course, they're going to be helping us. We are sponsoring a French biathlon team and the Norwegian biathlon team that got the most medals in the World Championship. That helps us, of course, a lot to be visible. But it also helps us to be better. We're not just doing that because they're going to be on a big poster in our office. They're helping us to be better. It's pretty demanding, I'm telling you, to work with these athletes every single day because they are wearing our items because they can't even choose, right? They have to be wearing our items. Basically 300 days a year. Traveling in our stuff, training in our stuff, competing in our items. So I'm going to tell you, if it's not good enough, we got pretty quickly emails in the inbox that they're complaining. And worst was bike, because there was a lot of complaints when biking, and I can understand, because you do biking for like 15 hours or something. But yeah, that's sort of putting pressure back to us to be even better in development of the items. and we learn a lot, of course. So that's sort of, it's important to have visibility. It's important to have sales. We don't do Hammarby for the sake of its fun. That's a big business. Hammarby's merchandise sales will now be 2024 more than 3 million euros. So we're not just doing that to be, again, a poster on the office. It's a business as well.
Back to the shoes again. Yep. You mentioned that it's hard for customers to maybe find the shoes in stock in the stores, if I understood you right. Easier to buy it on your e-shop.
Yeah.
Has that been a limitation for expansion globally for you, or in?
I think that's the hardest thing. The brand is good. The shoes are good. We just need to convince first the customer to put it on your shelf if you're a retailer, and then the consumer need to find it in your store. And today, e-commerce is great. We don't see that e-commerce is going to be the major business for us. If you ask other brands, maybe they think that's going to be the biggest major business for them. We are different. We do believe that can be a supplement. We do believe that we can be helping you as a consumer to find more stuff from us. But we don't mind if you buy it at Intersport, or if you buy it at Stadium, or on our webpage. So in this case, the e-commerce has been superbly good, helping us out to sort of tell you and the consumers, this is good. But if they're buying at Löplabbet, I'm going to be super happy. So it doesn't really matter where they do the buying, right? So we will never compete with our customers.
Yeah, but has the problem been that, for example, Löplabbet, that they don't have enough sizes in the store, in their inventory?
No.
So that's not been the issue.
So at Löplabbet today, it sells well. So the consumer go in there. But again, we won't be the first shoe that you ask for as a consumer, because we're not on that level yet. So we are really depending on the people at Löplabbet, which we treat very well. We go out running with them every single month, telling them all the things about our shoes. They need to say, okay, you need to buy these shoes.
Okay, but so inventory in the stores have not been the issue. It's recognition that's...
Yeah, it can be hard to get into the store, of course, because they see, oh, we don't hear about you before, it's an unknown brand. But again, as I said in the presentation, the trend goes to that retailers need to take more risks, because they never know which brand's going to be out or in for next season.
Okay, get it, thanks.
Magnus?
But as Jon alluded to, in the second step to break into the bigger retailers like the Stadiums, Intersport, and so on, isn't it true that there it's been mostly a dropship model this far? So
So basically, what we need to do, and that's why they have these phases, right? We need to be good in phase number 1 first, because the bigger chains will not carry you as a brand if you're not succeeding in running specialty. So we need to be good in running specialty first before we run into the other one. Or if we run to the big box one, such as XXL or Dick's Sporting Goods of this world, it won't be selling, because no one's going to help you out. Maybe if it's a super, super low price, but it won't be that. So we need to do this phase by phase, step by step. And again, 250,000 pairs is not bad, but it will be taking some time. But in 27, we hope for 1 million pair. More questions?
And how will ASICS and Nike fight back? I mean, it's a disaster for them, I guess, giving this market away. What is their plan, do you think? How will this game play out?
I think you have to ask them, but if I'm going to guess, basically, they are taking a different road than we are doing, right? I think some of the brands maybe now need to go back a bit and have more retailers again. I think very many brands went too far to say no to customers. I think Nike said no to 30,000 customers, something like that. Meaning that I think they will step back a bit, of course, going back in. But again, if you then were the retailer and you were told 2 years ago, you're not welcome, and that brand comes back again and says, hey, I changed my mind. What about working together again? Will you then rely on that brand being back in with you for real, or for a year, for 2 years, or a season? And this is the thing, right? So we build the trust together with our retailers. That's why we don't going to compete with them on the e-commerce. We would like to build trust. And the whole new way model builds on having stock, supplying, sales rep, being out there, being local, being present. And that's our model for sure. But we need to be innovative. We need to have all this stuff, right? But other brands will for sure, most likely, if they're not succeeding, they need to sort of rewind a bit and sort of go back.
Because I understand, I mean, hookah has done something fantastic, but how many hookahs is there place for? I mean,
we don't have to do $1.4 billion. I would love to do that, of course, but I think there's room for 1 million pairs. And I think there's room for more than 1 million pairs. Again, can we be hookah? Maybe. On did it in actually shorter time than what hookah has been doing it. So again, I would love to have these millions and millions of pairs that hookah has, but I think there's going to be room for more players within this field, and that's what we are aiming for. If we do this, the brand going to be much more recognized, because if we're selling more T-shirts or base layers or cross-country skiing apparel, that won't be helping us as a brand. Because again, the consumer is Googling for footwear, not for T-shirts, not for socks or shorts. So it's important in many ways that we sell more of the footwear, because they're going to be sort of driving the brand in the right way.
And is it the big incumbents who will lose market share continuously, or will you take it from hookah or from on running? Or
I think it's going to be a combination of taking market shares, but I think also been adding on more styles. So running specialty stores today, they carry much more footwear than they did in the past, because we are running on different surfaces. We are buying more shoes. We are testing more shoes. So basically, there is room for more brands just because you, as a consumer, would like to spend more money on running footwear. So it's going to be a combination of taking market shares and in sort of the market expanding. And I think we learned something during the pandemic, that we need to be healthy and we need to be exercising, right? And running, again, is the biggest activity that people are doing. So it's going to be, I think, a more and broader audience. It's things you can do despite where you live in the world. Even in the poorest countries, the wealthiest countries, the hottest countries, the coldest countries, you can still go running. And it's one of these activities, they will be sort of make that market bigger.
One more question, then it's coffee time.
Could you please just elaborate a little bit about the margin? What's the margin for hookah, the on, and what are you looking for in the future?
Well, the margin for footwear is usually slightly lower than what we have in the group. We had, I think, 49 something when we closed 2023. Lars? Thank you. Footwear is running slightly lower, but again, the average selling price is much higher, right? So if we get an order from from Löplabbet, for example, and if they buy 100 pairs of shoes from us, or 1,000 pairs of shoes, that value going to be pretty high, right? The margin going to be slightly lower than average, but again, Craft is running on a higher average margin than what the group is doing. So the 49% the group is doing, we are overachieving in as a brand. With that combination we have today with teamwear, footwear, club, and e-commerce, etc. So I'm not really afraid of the margin because the profile business is going to be increasing a lot, which gives us a high margin. The e-commerce business, steady growth, is still like 10 to 12% of our total business. And I think that's pretty solid. That gives us some really high margins. The footwear is going to be giving us somewhere around 40 to 50. But again, as we said to Jon here before, depending on what kind of item we are selling, if we are selling this high-end one and we make one off of it, it's going to be a lower margin. If we do something that we sell a lot of shoes for, this, for example, will be something we're going to have for years and years and years. And this already now is doing plus 45% in margin. So bear with me, if you do 100,000 pairs of this, it's going to be above 50, right? So I think that's sort of the combination. But let's say footwear, the lowest margin, then the teamwear and the retail margin is around 45, 55, and then we have higher on the corporate business. And then even higher for e-commerce. So that's sort of, if you put that all in one mix, we today are achieving higher gross margin than the group is achieving. Great. Thank you very much. Great questions. Thank you.